How are you doing?
Fantastic. It's not raining in Eugene. Sun is somewhat out, but not out. So, all good days. You guys are probably most excited and interested about this fantastic Pepsi meet that we have coming up. But before we delve into that, this past weekend, where we split up our two teams and went to San Diego State, and then the distance crew went to Stanford, and then we ended up staying up at in San Diego to go to Chula Vista and train for a week there, which was fantastic. I thought lots of rave reviews from my athletes and our team members there, and then of course the distance kids went to Stanford and it had a good showing there. Of course, probably highlighted by Lily Burden's PR, and then Sam Nadell's PR, and then Katie Rainsberger and Allie Cash pacing some of the 10K there. One of them goes 2 miles, the other one goes 3 miles, and that was kind of scripted and planned for them to do that as they continue to work their way back. Then, of course, there at San Diego State, lots of wins there, 8 wins I think total, and then lots of PRs by the group there. So good start to the outdoor season for us last year.
Did you get what you wanted out of those 2 weekends in terms of, jump-starting this outdoor season?
Yeah, as you know, the goal here is to get those regional qualifying marks there. And for those in the media or those that don't know, you got to be in the top 48 in the country in the West to advance to regionals, which is for us, luckily, in Sacramento. So it's an easy trip for us. Most of the time, well, the few times that I've been there, it's been everywhere but the West. So for it to actually be truly in the West is a blessing in disguise for us.
What do you want to see out of your team this weekend at the Pepsi?
Same as the last weekend. More qualifying marks there. Those 1,500-meter guys got those things knocked out of the way and running 3:39 and 3:40. And we're just talking about the race, the 1,500-meter here, trying to also get some more of those guys qualified in the 15. Interesting events there. The 3K would be really competitive here as well. So it'll be close team battle on the men's side, and then hopefully, if everything goes well, it'll be a good win on the women's side as well.
You mentioned the importance of getting the regional qualifying marks, but Pepsi's also, you keep team scores.
Absolutely.
How big a factor is that for you in teaching your athletes to compete?
Well, of course, that's the way track and field is going, those regional marks and the head-to-head competition, which is why the regionals was created, to give those schools the opportunity to beat some people on that day. But this is good practice for us for our league meet, and then as well as on throughout the nationals, because it matters green being in front of all the other colors, or yellow being in front of all the other colors, or whatever color that it is that we're wearing on that day. It gets us a chance to truly go head-to-head and compete and beat some people. So I always find that intriguing and exciting, and so that's kind of a precursor of what this meet will help us do.
Not a lot of chances, perhaps, to run in historic Hayward Field the way it looks now. Any nostalgia on your part or on the team's part about this may be one of the last chances?
Well, one of the last chances for sure. We're hoping and urging all the people to come see Hayward at its current state this year, because it'll be one of those final things that is going to happen. And our kids are thrilled and excited because we didn't get the chance to do this last year because of this so-called construction that didn't happen. And so to know that we're kind of getting closer and closer to that coming to an end, and the finality of it being Hayward Field as it looking like this, there's a certain nostalgic piece of it and a certain sentimental piece of it. We have some seniors on our team that it's their last indoor meet, it's their last this, it's their last that. Every time they do something, it's their last this. And so for us and as a team and a program, they're exciting to have been blessed with this facility as it is, and then looking into the future, I think it's something that we'll cherish and relish.
Going back to last weekend, how did Katie and Allie look as pacers? I mean, did you see from them what you wanted to see coming off their injuries?
Yeah, it's not necessarily the ending one. It's just a chance to get them in the competitive atmosphere a lot. Like if you are watching the film or any of the video of the race there, you'll see them, they had on trainers. So that's not an unlikely thing that when you're actually trying to run a good race, but just a safe way to go out there and be in the competitive atmosphere and get some miles in.
You've talked at times throughout this year about losing some of the veterans that you lost from last year, but you get one back in Samantha this year. How important is it to have somebody, some upperclassman who's had success rejoining the team? I know she's been practicing, but rejoining the team in a competitive sense for the outdoor season?
Yeah, she's been great. You know, she's a transfer that came in here and latched on to what Coach Powell was asking those girls to do, and just missed on scoring last year in the 5K. And then to have her back and have that prowess of that potential to be able to go out there and make up for what didn't happen last year is thrilling. You know, she's pleasant to be around. She's always got a smile on her face. We've always had some interesting conversations, so it's a joy to have her back into the mix full time.
It seems like it's a bit of a crapshoot when you go in asking for those 6 years. How confident were you that you'd be able to get hers?
Not confident at all. You know, the NCAA is a crapshoot at best, and the good important thing is that her family had good documentation. And you know, the Ivy Leagues, they don't grant any 5th years there. It's just 4 years and done, no matter what. So for her family to be proactive and have all the documentation of her history and her medical history and stuff, like, helped and aided in her case in a big way.
And not having seen any of the entries for this weekend, anybody, any surprises, any off events for anybody, any season debuts happening this weekend?
Not that I know. Well, when you say season debuts, I think a couple of those guys are going to run there. DeMarcus is going to run a couple of events. There are going to be a couple of 4x1s and possibly a couple of 4x4s just to work on some things and get some speed work for some of those hurdlers and quarter milers. So I don't necessarily know if that's that out of the realm of feasibility.
We said DeMarcus is going to run a couple events, and he's taking relays and one of the
relays
sprints.
and probably trying to debate depending on the long jump and then the 100-meter dash.
Do you consider DeMarcus a sprinter who long jumps or a long jumper who sprints?
Depends on who you ask on what day. And in his mind, he's probably a long jumper at heart, and the sprint is something that he found on when he got here.
Do you see more potential in one event or the other for him?
I think the sky's the limit for that guy. You know, he really surprised us last year by running a windy sub 10 seconds last year in Texas. And then he came back and answered that with a 10-1 something at a couple of meets. So we knew he was talented, but maybe not quite that talented. And then for him to put those races together, it really set him up. Really set him up well there, and maybe even messed him up a little bit because he was just so fast when we were there in Texas and had a lot of issues and troubles with his steps there. And he was coming on at the right time there at the Pac-12 meet because he won that, and then going into regionals, I thought that he was showing huge promise there heading into the regionals and nationals, and then I ran really fast there at regionals and then kind of messed up some of his steps there, and I'm probably some of the blame to that as well. So we could have made some better adjustments there to get him a mark, because I thought that if he got to the national meet, he'd have been special.
Were you aware of him when he contacted you? Did you know who he was?
Yeah, we watched him a little bit. We recruited him a little bit before he got there. So we talked to him a few times, and then what really spurred things is when he came here and competed in one of those after nationals meet. I don't know, I forget which one, if it was the USA's championships or one of the Olympic trials here. He jumped, and then he came back on a visit that fall. And liked it and loved it, and things were able to work out.
He was a pretty good high school football player. Has he talked to you about following the Jordan Kent, Devin Allen path to gridiron glory?
You name one of those guys on our team, one of those sprinters or hurlers, and you'll find all of them have some kind of hoop dreams or football dreams or something like that. So I tell DeMarcus all the time, yeah, you could play football if you want to, but they're gonna crunch your little self there, because he's what, 5'7" at best, and 140 some odd pounds. So I'd love to see him come across the middle and catch a ball.
How nice is it for you to see a group of milers like Sam, Mick, and Reed run well indoors and have success outdoors?
Yeah, that's been one of our specialties here. Like, if you look back, we've always had really good milers here, and Coach Powell is doing a fantastic job of keeping that tradition alive. And so to have such a good crop, and a good young crop at best, is really exciting, and shows that we'll continue to have a good presence in that event.
Did you like the way Ariana opened her season?
Yeah, of course, we all know her trials and tribulations that she had indoors and not making it to nationals, and I'm assuming it hit her hard, as well as it hurt us to see someone so talented not be able to pull things together. But having said that, for her to come back and outdoors and be able to bounce back and open up at a legal 11:25, I think the time was, is good. So it bodes well for her future moving forward, and so we'll see how the outdoor season continues to unveil. You know, there's a really good article out there about Gabby Thomas, and I know her coach there, Kaba Tober, and former head coach at Portland State. He's done a fantastic job of developing those kids there, and so to see him have some success with her as well as her, she's a super nice kid, and proud of her.
So you got your Nike golf gear on. You got a prediction for the Masters this weekend?
Hey, you know, I woke up live at the Masters this morning when they had the press conference with my guy Tiger Woods, and I think I had a Tiger reference the last time I stood in front of you guys, and so I'm a Tiger fan, and good to have him back in the game. And you know, he says a lot of things, and some of the things I agree with, some of them I disagree with. But the expectation, I think, was what spurred the comment last year, and the expectation for us is nothing changes, no matter who the people are, or who the personnel is. That's just the kind of reputation that we've built, and we have to live with that, both on the good side and the bad side of that. But I'd be remiss if I say that I wouldn't be pulling for him to win, and I'm happy for a lot of those guys. The only one I probably don't want to win is Phil Mickelson. Him and I probably don't mesh too well there. Not a Phil Mickelson fan, but you know, if Dustin was to win, that'd be good. Serge to win again, that'd be good. One of the young guys, Spieth or Roy, or actually, if I'm really pulling for one of the young guns there, it would be good to see Ricky Fowler get one. So I probably know more about golf than I should, because just a passion of mine.